If there is one horror movie that I've heard endless things about, it has to be Jeepers Creepers. I constantly heard about it growing up, seeing adverts on TV and posters for it too. And when I started to talk to a lot of horror fans, people would constantly recommend both this film and its sequel. Well, I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about both the movies in one review because I wanted to review them both, but also wanted extra space on my list for other films too. The film is about Trish and her brother Darry, played by Gina Phillips and Justin Long. The two are driving home from college for spring break. However, while driving, an old rusty truck tries to drive them off the road. Later on while driving, they go past the church and see the truck again. They also see what appears to be a man dropping a body into a large pipe in the ground. They wait for the man to leave and go in to investigate. Darry goes down to find corpses strung up all over the walls. They then run away fearing that they'll be caught. This part of the movie is absolutely terrifying. The suspense of the man who has done this all possibly coming back to kill them really keeps you on edge. They pace everything out perfectly and make every scene slow and atmospheric. The two escape and go to a diner. They then get a phone call from a mysterious woman who says that they are in danger and if they hear the song Jeepers Creepers playing, they need to run. They tell the police about the bodies and the police find out that the church had been burnt to the ground. The police officers give Trish and Darry a security escort. However, they are attacked and killed by the mysterious man. They escape once again and yet he catches up with them again. Then the man's appearance is revealed. This is where the film stops being scary. What made it scary was the suspense and uncertainty. Now we know what it is that is following them, it somehow stops being as scary. Don't get me wrong, it does have some very creepy scenes in the second half, but none that are anywhere near as creepy as in the build up to the film. They discover things about the monster and have to try to survive being chased by it. What makes the film scary is how the monster always finds them. They can't run or get away, the monster finds them every single time they do. It reminds me a little bit of It Follows in the way that that film did it in a similar way. The opening half an hour is not just incredibly scary, it's honestly one of the scariest half an hours I've ever seen in a film. It's really tense and you constantly have the feeling of shivers going down your spine. It's fantastic, but it does kind of just fall into cliches and stops being as good as it was. The monster is awesome and really well created, but it goes from being incredibly scary to just simply fun and enjoyable. I really recommend this film though. What it does well, it does possibly better than most horror films of the 2000s. Just go in knowing that the second half isn't as good. I give Jeepers Creepers an 8 out of 10. And now Jeepers Creepers 2. I've heard nothing but people praising both of these films. Although critics haven't been kind, especially with the second one, horror fans seem to fall in love with them instantly and regard them as modern day classics. But personally, I don't get it. I mean, the first movie is pretty good, but the second movie is so slightly above mediocre. The film is set 3 days after the original. A young boy is stolen by the Creeper. His father, played by Ray Wise, sets out to save him. He comes in every once in a while, and despite being pretty much top bill for this film, he really is only one of the side characters. We then see a bus full of school students who are driving home from a basketball game. While driving, their tyre is blown. They use a spare tyre and carry on driving, but then that tyre also blows. While they are out of the bus, the Creeper comes down and steals one of the students. Then the rest of the movie is them trying to make sure they aren't killed by the Creeper, who seems to be slowly choosing his victims and picking them off. The majority of the film is set in and around the bus. This could have made for something quite scary. It's a very self-contained movie. It could have had a really claustrophobic feeling, but it didn't. And that's what really ruined the film for me. That it could have been really scary, but wasn't. The film decides to go for a more fast-paced and fun style, which doesn't really work in my opinion. There are long scenes of just character development, but none of the characters are interesting at all, so I just sat there completely bored. When they started being killed off, I wasn't interested either because the kills were mostly pretty basic. There are a couple of good ones, but not many. The Creeper is nowhere near as scary as he was in the first movie. What made him scary originally was that they were running away and he still found them. They couldn't hide. In this film, they stay in one place, so it's easy for him to catch them. In fact, he doesn't really have to do anything because they can't fight back. At least not until Ray Wise's character comes in near the end. My biggest problem with the film is how, after it ended, I didn't feel any different. I didn't feel like I'd been entertained or scared, I just didn't care. I couldn't really think of anything to talk about because honestly, I don't really remember much of what happened. And that's why I don't have much to say about the film. I just found it really bland and uninteresting. I know a lot of people really like it, but I don't understand that at all because for me, this film is nothing special at all. I give Jeepers Creepers 2 a 5 out of 10.